Today we are going to look at area formulas for a number of shapes. Our first one is going to be the square. So here we have our square. It has equal sides, our area. Now, for the formula for square, it is L, so length squared. For example, let's say that this is 5 meters here, 5 meters here. Now, if they are all the same size, so 5 on either of all four sides, then it would be, our area would be 5 squared equals 25. Now let's look at our rectangle. Okay, so we have these two sides are the same length, and on the right and the left side they are the same length. So for our formula for this, for a rectangle, is area equals length by width. So let's use, for this is say 6 meters, this is 3 meters, so we would go 6 by 3, and so the area would equal 18. So now we're going to look at our triangle. So in this case we have triangle as such. We have a space between here and here. So here to here is our base. Then we need to find out what our height is. So here we draw a line. It is a right angle, and this is called our height. So our formula for a triangle is, for area, is half times by base times height. So let's use an example now. So let's say here our base is 10 and our height here is 5. So we would calculate it as 1/2 times by 10 times by 5. If we wanted to break it down further, if you're working it out in your head, it would be half times 50, because 10 times 5 is 50. Half by 50 is 25. Okay, now we're going to look at our parallelogram. So a parallelogram is a bit like a rectangle, except it's sort of been pushed on its side. So it's like this. These are the same length as are the left and right side. So just like our triangle, we need to find out what our height is. So there, so this is our height, this is our base, just like a triangle. You've got to understand that this height here, this here, is not the same length as these two. That's why we need to find out what our height is, because the height will probably be shorter. Okay, so our formula is area base by height. So for example, let's say we had, our base is 15 and our height as 3. So it would be 15 times 3 equals 45. Okay, now we're going to look at our trapezium. Here we have, this distance along here is known as A. This distance up here, which you can see is shorter, is B. We have, once again, just like our triangle, we put our straight line down, and this is known as our height. So this is sort of similar with our triangle as well. So our formula is area equals half by bracket A plus B, a closed bracket, times by H. So let's use an example here. Let's say we had a height of 2. The bottom length is 8 and the top length is 6. So it would be area half, open bracket, 8 plus 6, close bracket by 2. Okay, we can carry this down, half. 8 plus 6 is 14. Let me just get rid of this. By 14 by 2. Again, we can bring it down a bit further. 14 by 2 is 28. And then if we were to halve 28, we would get 14. Okay, so our next one is called a rhombus. It's very similar to a square, although it is a square that's been slightly pushed on its side. So let me draw this for you. Okay, so even though it has been pushed on its side, each side is still equal. What has changed though is our like diagonally across the square, or the rhombus I should say, these sides are actually a different, you actually have them as different lengths. For example, we've called this one Y and this one is X. So our formula for this is, so the formula is A, or area, equals half X. Let me make that a little bit neater for you. So it's X, Y. So in this case, for example, let's say that all our equal sides are 6. So each one of these are 6 meters. So it would be half times 6 times 6. Again, we can pull it down if you're having trouble working it out. 6 sixes are 36. And in this case, a half of 36 is 18. Okay, our next one is a kite. You can see up here, these two are the same length as each other, as are these, and they are longer than the top ones. What we also have, so from this point to this point, which is I'm referring to here, this is known as the x-axis, and the point from up here to down here, this part is the y-axis. So our area formulation is 1/2 x, y. So for example, let's say that we had x here. Let me use a different pen. Let's say we had x as 4 and we had our y as 8. So how we would work this out would be half 4 by 8. Bring it down again. 4 8s are 32. Half of that is 16. And that is our area of the kite. Okay, we're moving on to the circle. So here we have the center of our circle. So the line that goes from the center to the edge is called our radius. Now, to work out our area of our circle, it is pi radius squared. So if you have on your calculator, you can just press the pi button, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to use round pi off as 3.14, but I would encourage you to actually use your pi button. So 3.14 times by our radius. Now let's say our radius here was 5. So we would go 3.14 by 5 squared. So 5 5s are 25. So if we were to punch that into our calculator, we would get 78.5. Okay, our last one is our sector. Now our sector, so now we have our sector. So we have our radius here. We also have our degrees. So for here, we don't know what our degrees are at this stage. So you'll find it like a little 0 with a line through it. So our formula for our sector, so this is a sector of a circle. Okay, so for example, if I was to do a little invisible line there with a few dots, we're looking for all of the area in this blue part. Okay, so our formula for a sector is our unknown degrees over 360, because there are 360 degrees in a circle. Just like up the top, it's by pi r squared. So for the purpose of this example, let's say our degrees is 110 degrees and our radius is 15. So we would go 110 over 360 multiplied by 314 multiplied by 15 squared. So we would punch into our calculator 110 divided by 360. You'll get 0.305. It is a continuous number, so I'm just going to leave it at 5 there. Multiplied by 314. And let's have a look at our 15 squared is 225. Ooh. There we go. So let's have a look at that. So we have 0.305 times 3.14 times 225, and your answer is 215 point, I'm going to round this up to 0.5. So that is basically the area of this sector here. Okay, so just to finish off, there's 3 questions I'd like you to write in your book and work those out for me. Once you're done, we'll check those answers in class.